Steve, you saw the 1517 to Paris.
Correct.
Or is it Paris?
It was Paris. They exclusively referred to it as Paris.
Paris? Okay.
They did
It's
not.
actually
It was Paris.
1517 to blanket.
The
Not
fuck,
Paris.
I don't know how to say 15 in French anymore. I can only count to 10. And then Charlie, you saw The Death Cure.
Maze Runner, The Death Cure.
Yeah. Ooh, is James Hetfield anyway? Yeah. Anyway, they got to convince me that these movies are good. So let's hear that.
Are you ready for Movie Versus? Welcome to Movie Versus, the podcast where we pin two terrible movies in an all-out battle for the best of the worst. Here are your hosts, Tyler Lamb, Charlie Pixley, and Steve Janik. All on Movie Versus!
Hey everybody, welcome to Movie Versus, the podcast in defense of bad movies. This is episode 51, and I'm Tyler Lamb, one of the hosts. I'm here with Steve Janik. Steve, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Going pretty good.
That's good. I'm also here with Charlie Pixley.
Sup, dog?
What's up, Chuck? Mm-hmm. All right. He doesn't know. That's
One of these days, I'm gonna
Maybe-
I'm gonna like roll over your intro, but it's just you guys are gonna
Anyway,
be
so
like,
now
Steve, why would-" Son of a bit. That's exactly what I was saying was going to happen.
and on this episode, they have to convince me that their movies are good, which are 1517 to Paris and Maze Runner: The Death Cure.
may I also mention that from where I'm sitting, I just noticed that you have the two DVDs of Howard the Duck
Yeah.
side by side, in
Yeah,
case
well-
one wears out.
Well, yeah, I think one's unopened. I think that's because
You keep the factory sealed German VHS.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought Tyler liked to watch the first half on one DVD and then swap it out for the
Well,
second half on the
I
next.
do have it unopened on VHS. It's not up here though. But no, that's because Charlie, I bought my own copy, and then one time you showed up and you're like, "Hey, I found this for like $5. I don't know if I'm sure you already have a copy."
Well, I knew you had the VHS. I just didn't know if you
Yeah.
had the DVD.
And so you gave me the second. I think that's the unopened copy that I keep it preserved.
It holds special meaning to you.
I just think that's funny that you. Like, I mean, just up there with Lorenzo's Oil.
I
you
mean,
know,
if there's a
you're big
movie under
spender.
$5, I'm willing to get it for you
Yeah.
without even asking you,
or what format,
or
if I
whether
have a
you
way-
care about it or not.
or have even heard of it.
Yeah, they're looking at my new bookshelf here. Hopefully, maybe we'll be able to do videos someday, and people will be able to see it. Because at the top we've got the Lorenzo's Oil laser disc, and a Howard the Duck poster, and then a bunch of other nerd shit, and then books. So even more nerd shit.
Yeah.
I heard
Surprised you can read.
Me too. So on this episode, Steve, let's 1517 to Paris. Let's get
A quick
yeah
quick rundown.
I mean, I already know what happens, but just okay. So we know what happens. So I guess tell us what, like, besides the train thing, what do they do? Like
They show kind of each of the three guys. It starts off with the two of the main characters, Alec and Spencer. It shows them as kids kind of having trouble in school, fitting in and things like
that's
that.
Alec.
They went to school together.
Yes.
You said his name was Alec.
Alec
Yeah, so Alec Guinness and Spencer.
Breslin.
There you go. Yeah, I couldn't think of a famous Spencer.
That's fine.
Who is that?
Spencer. He's the guy from The Kid.
Oh,
Oh yeah, Abigail Breslin's brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
sure.
No, he really is.
Exactly.
And he's in.
Sure.
Aren't they both?
I'm not
in,
doubting.
The Cat in
It's
the
just
Hat.
okay.
I don't know. I know he is. I don't know if they both are, but he was also he's also like the head elf in like Santa Claus 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How could I forget?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So the best of the Santa. No. Anyway, so Alec and Spencer, they're both kind of outsiders. They don't really fit in. They end up moving from public school to a private school, and then that's when they meet
together.
Yeah, like their parent, like their best friends, and the moms kind of go into a parent-teacher meeting together.
Do they play the younger versions of themselves as well?
Yes.
Are you serious? They play the high school
No,
version?
no.
Oh, I was
No,
like, oh my god.
Because these younger selves, this is before high school. Like they kind of play their high school selves, but it's like right before they're adults, I guess you would say.
Yeah, so it's not like
it's like a scene of them in high school.
It's not like a
really.
Smallville thing where they're freshmen, but
Hey,
they
No,
clearly
no.
look like they're
They
30s.
they have other children play them, and it's like probably 7th grade sort of area.
Okay.
But their mom's going for a parent teacher conference together, and the teacher kind of says to both of the mothers that their kids have ADD and that they need to be medicated, and they're like, well, you're a bitch. And they're like, we're going to put our sons in a different school because you are an idiot. Mm-hmm. So they're
So
still kind
she
of...
was right. They do have ADD.
Also, yikes!
Yeah.
Quick overreaction.
Exactly. So they're still kind of not fitting in this new school, and then they meet the third guy, Anthony, and they kind of all become friends. Anthony ends up eventually no longer going to their school, and they don't part ways, but they kind of spend some time apart. Alec ends up at some point going to live with his father, so they all kind of separate for a little while. But then Spencer and Alec end up both going into the service, and it shows a little bit of their journey becoming. Alec ends up going to Afghanistan. He goes to some things, whereas Spencer ends up being kind of like in the reserves. He's in Portugal doing training and stuff like that. And then they decide that Alec and Spencer both end up their time off kind of coincides. So they're planning to do this trip in Europe. Alec wants to go and see Germany, where his family's from, and like kind of really take in that culture. And then so Spencer is like, well, if you're going to be in Germany the entire time, I want to travel more. So he ends up calling Anthony to have a traveling partner so that he's not just going all over Europe by himself. And then they end up meeting up together, and then on their way to like the last part of their trip, which is in Paris, the whole event happens.
Hey, at least it was at the last part of their trip.
Yeah, exactly. At the very end. Okay, so then they're just on the train.
Yeah, they're on the train. It happens. I will say that a little aside, the assailant, the terrorist, his gun jams before he like rushes. So he's not just he's not just running down like a
He's not
steady
like
barrel.
an arrow thug.
Yeah. so there is like a reason, like there's an opportunity that he takes.
Okay, all right, that's good. Is Jenna Fisher their mom? One of the moms?
She's
or?
one of the mothers.
Oh, okay, all right, cool. That's Charlie.
And Judy Greer is another one.
Okay, Charlie, let me hear about Death Race.
All right, do you know anything about the Maze Runner
Death
series?
Race? Death Cure.
Death Cure, my bad.
I'll tell you all about Death Race.
No,
Gladly, I would.
I thought that. No, I
thought this was a solo.
I thought I knew something about Maze Runner until I found out that one, there's more than one,
And two,
and
where the fuck's the Minotaur? This is bullshit.
what movie's that from?
Is
like
that
Minotaur,
Theseus?
like that's like the old myth with he's in a maze.
I
and,
can't
like,
remember if
you
it's
go in
Theseus
the
or
maze.
Perseus.
Okay, I thought you were talking about a different book.
I don't think it's Perseus.
Because
Okay, then I think it might be Theseus.
I thought it was about like
Minotaurus.
so. I mean, the trailer's the first movie. I was like, oh, that's what this book's about. And then I was like, there's more. People are watching this. So I mean, it must be good. So Charlie, tell me about it.
All right, I'm gonna give you quick recaps of what
Yeah.
happens.
So
in
they
the first two
hijack the
movies.
train from 15 to Paris, or 1517 to
No,
Paris.
that is the opening scene though. So real quick in the first movie, these kids wake up. They're in a big ass maze.
Now, did you watch the first two
No,
movies?
I just
okay.
read the wiki summary.
Gotcha. Okay.
Wake up in a maze. So everybody that's big fans of this, if they're listening to this, it's probably gonna not be fun for them. So they wake up in a maze. The other kids are like, "Hey, you can't be in the maze at nighttime. You gotta come back." So of course they go in the maze. They stay till nighttime. They're like these creatures. I don't know if you can just see
Minotaurs?
them or not.
No,
No.
they're like creatures that come out at night and like patrol the maze. So if they're in the maze when nightfall happens, like they pretty much are guaranteed to be dead.
Sure. And they one of them gets stabbed by him. He's infected and yada yada, and a bunch of people die. And they try and like rush towards the maze, and at the end they make it out of the maze, but they only enter another facility, and then it's time for the next round of trials.
So
the Scorch trial.
So just to be clear, that like in this whole thing, like they call people maze runners, and these are people that like during the day they just go through the maze as far as they can,
Try and find
a way out, and then like
stuff.
run back by the time night falls.
Okay.
So that like the whole maze runner thing is like these are the guys that are the aggressive ones. They're like the smart, like the elite of the group, and they're just trying to help everyone find a way out.
Have you read them?
I saw the first 2 movies.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna need some help.
So I should have
with this.
assigned you the.
I'm gonna need some help with the second one.
No. The
So in
second
Scorch
one's
Trials, they find out like they're in a desert or something, and all these people are infected,
Scorched?
and they're kind of because it was from a solar flare that came to the Earth and roasted all.
Were there
these
babies?
people. I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, so there were no solar babies?
No,
damn
unfortunately,
it.
no. There are plenty of copies of Solar Babies, though. So
Buried in a desert somewhere.
Yep. Well, and it's the only remaining artifact from the Library of Congress. It's all the copies, the multiple copies of Solar Babies that they have.
And
the
E.T. it was a
prints.
And E.T. it was a 2-pack. You got
What the hell is Solar Babies?
A movie with the greatest name ever.
Yeah, it's like a Mel Brooks movie. He like produced it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
I had no idea about this.
They're like rollerbladers in
Yeah.
the desert or some shit.
So
Carry on.
So in Solar Babies, so they're not only these little critters. There's these guys called cranks, and they're like
shit,
zombies.
dude. Jason Statham?
No, that's what I was hoping. I was a little disappointed by that. So you will have
there's
to
no Jason Statham
level out your expectations.
Putting batteries to his fucking nuts and be like,
and constantly having sex with Amy Smart just
in the
to
middle,
stay
in the
alive.
middle of a, in the middle.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
So these cranks are pissed off.
Oh, I thought they were crank.
Well, and they're gonna have a Christmas party.
Can you help me out? What happens in Scorch Trials again? They figure out their
So-
test subjects, and these guys are immune. The kids that are in there, so they're
Yeah,
trying to
so-
figure out
so
to get a
basically-
cure from their blood.
Yeah, what was going on? Was,
Oh wait, dude, I got it. They were cranky.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. No, so they like
They always said they were
all the
cranking off, but
all the kids that were in the maze, they're the ones that were immune, and so they were trying to figure out what made them immune and like kind of create a vaccine. But then they got away, and so now they're out in the real world and kind of are now exposed
or so
to
they
what
think.
to what happened to everything. And then it's just about them trying to get to a place where that they think is, like a free city.
Yeah, so
More or less.
unlike most dystopian novels, this has got a really unique concept of one mega city protected by walls
Wow,
where there's
really?
a normal
Where the
section of
rich people
society.
live in?
My favorite is how this is like Charlie is just kind of like creating like a weird series in which it's like the Hunger Games goes into Divergent, goes into Maze Runner at this point for him.
Wait, all these things are different? No. So
Not appreciable.
It has yet to be proved.
So naturally, if somebody has this blood and they're immune to this disease, how do you figure out if they can like help you create a cure, if they can conquer mazes or not? And then they have to go through the next trials.
It would be pretty awesome though if they get into the city and ended up being the city from Hunger Games, and they're like, my God.
And then that's how they go in to represent District
And then
1.
Katniss comes in and
Sure.
she's like, guys, I'm glad you finally came. I was told you would come. There's another city that's diverging from its path. We had to help them. It's the cinematic universe, the
YA
that we don't
cinematic
deserve,
universe.
but we need.
How does A Fault in Our Stars fit into this whole project?
It goes straight into Baby Driver. I know that.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, at the end of Scorch Trials, I believe the main group of kids that are left, because a bunch of kids die apparently in the first movie, more than I was expecting. Like,
No, yeah.
this long list of characters, and I think there's only 3 that survive out of probably like
There's
15 or so.
It's about a handful. There's a lot that get through, but there's like a mass murder sort of thing that occurs near the end.
Yeah, from all these little critters.
Okay.
So at the end of Scorch Trials, they meet up with this resistance team called the Right Arm, right? I think that's at the end
I
of the second
can't
one.
remember the name, but yeah.
And their goal is like the end of the second one, beginning of the third one is all right. We're gonna break into the city and try to find our guy on the inside, and because they know a couple people that are inside working with them.
Because when they were escaping in the first one, several of them got or at some point during the first or the second movie, a group of them got captured.
I believe so. So the third one picks up with this one dude who's running. Well, there's a train rescue where they're taking a few of them back, and then it cuts to this one guy who's in this forest, and he's running around, and he opens up this door into this cabin, and he enters like a super dungeon, and then he's
Super dungeon?
he's tripping out.
Or a soup or dungeon.
Yeah, it's like the Super Salad decided to revamp their business
Yeah.
model. They're like soup or dungeon.
That dungeon is
That's a
value.
good way to sell a lot of soup. So he shuts the door behind him. He's like, "Oh my god!" And the lights down a tunnel, and he turns around.
Classic.
Oh my god, where'd he come from? And then these like penis-looking monsters, like they look like fucked up dicks with robot legs, like kind of like the Darth Maul spider robot legs.
Wait, you guys' dicks don't have robot legs?
Not that many, but he's chasing him, and then somebody uses telekinesis on him from
Whoa.
somewhere else and like throws him up on the roof to what makes you think
Steve is heavily invested.
it's what makes you think he's like the guy, somebody's helping him out, because he throws him up on the roof and you think like, oh shit, he's about to just slam him around, but then the monster turns a corner and doesn't see him until he does see him and goes up and just like
I love that. He doesn't see him until he does.
well, they play it like, oh, and then the little pincers just go right on the sides of his head, and he just lunges at him. But then you realize he wakes up then, and he's actually being experimented on by a lady who is trying to help develop a cure
For
and this
Abstergo,
lady-
and this is all part of the
Not
Assassin's
yet,
Creed.
Not yet. This lady, apparently, she's the kid's age, was working with the original team, but apparently betrayed them. But it's a situation, it sounds like, where she's like, I'm going to work with them because they're at least trying to find a cure. They're doing fucked up shit, but if I can help find a cure, I'm going to do that. I'm not just going to try and fight them.
Yeah.
So she's working on that and helping get new kids in. She's obviously struggling because they're kind of torturing the kids, but also, I mean, they're still doing medical research.
Also, they
still.
kind of deserved it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, those kids were talking back.
Yeah.
So
I know. I didn't get my shock collar off until I was at least 18.
so the kids form an alliance with the infected people, because there's a series of cranks that don't,
Oh, shit.
that aren't,
Crank Yankers? Oh, wait.
they're not like fully infected.
I forgot about those characters. I thought you were saying they like did a series of crank calls.
Spoonie Love,
They're
Ed.
it's a guy who plays the crazy guy in a lot of movies. What's that one Sam Rockwell movie, Seven Assassins?
Yeah.
It's the guy who's always playing the kind of crazy
John
dude.
Malkovich.
No, other guy, other crazy guy.
Sam Rockwell.
No, other crazy guy. Well, he doesn't have his nose, and he's falling apart. He's like, let's form it.
Ralph Fiennes.
Damn it. That's exactly what I was gonna fucking say.
It was more like Michael Jackson style, though, where it's like cut off, not like non-existent. And he goes and shakes his hand. He's like, "We've got a deal." So they
Hey,
end up.
Keep
hold
in
on.
mind. Keep in mind the infected people kind of end up looking like a cross between zombies and war boys.
Yeah,
So Colin Farrell,
Are you just
No.
looking up?
Woody Harrelson,
no,
Christopher Walken.
no.
Is he actually like a name you would recognize?
Maybe, I don't know. I would recognize his
Is
face.
it-
He's in a fair amount of stuff. But
Is it like this guy? This guy looks kind of weird.
no. Just look up Death Cure.
Damn it.
So anyway, or listen to me. So they end up. There's one opening in the wall to the city, and all the protesters are out there. Some of the cranks are protesting with their signs and stuff, and they're like, "We want equal pay."
I mean, to be fair, the cranks can barely write, so their signs are up. Best.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the people inside the city would help them out. They just don't know what they want. Tell us what
They're
you want.
all the signs are finger painted.
Yeah, exactly. And so the guys, the right arm goes up, and they go, "This is our way in." The other guy, I'm glad, goes, "It's the only door in the city. Like, don't you think they'll expect us to try and come in the only opening?" It's like, "Yeah, but it's our only shot." It's like, okay.
You're giving him too much credit. They're not that smart.
So they end up sneaking in at first, but that doesn't work. And then they come back out, and then they lead a mission to break in to try and get their person.
Is there a second train scene?
No.
Damn
There's
it.
a bus scene,
Ooh.
but no.
Almost as good as a train scene.
You said there was a bust scene?
Bus.
A scene that was a total bust?
No, none of those.
What kind of bus is it?
Just like
Like,
a bus.
I mean,
When they're in the city, it essentially just looks like Chicago.
oh, okay, so like a metro bus.
Yes.
Like a okay. Okay, that's kind of funny.
I love that the point that you couldn't handle was the bus.
Well, no, I was just wondering. I mean,
Is it a
just seems,
school bus
it just
or
seems
is it
kinda-
like a regular bus?
It just seems kind of weird in this world that there would just be a bus.
It's a huge city still.
Yeah. So they need some way to get around.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably more economical to not get a car. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Too much traffic. No one drives. So much
Exactly.
traffic.
Just like New York. So, and what does Miles Teller do in your movie again?
He hooks up with that dude from Zathura.
Zathura. You mean Zathura?
Sure.
Okay. You mean
So
wait,
on to things that actually occurred
Josh
in the film.
Josh Hutcherson?
Yes.
Holy shit. It's got the star power. Is Kristen Stewart in it as well? A full Zathura reunion?
Unfortunately, she is not.
But Dax Shepard makes a prominent
Oh
appearance.
man, nice. So Steve, how bad were these guys as actors?
They weren't.
Well, it was more like it felt more like a problem with the script than a problem with the acting. Like there was a lot of just them saying what they were doing for no apparent reason.
Like, what do you mean?
Like-
man, I'm eating this snack right now.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that happened at one point. But there's a part where they're in, I think they're in Germany at the time. They just got to Germany, and one of them's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go put my stuff away and email and do something else, and I will meet you in there." And he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go in there and get a drink." And I was like, none of that had to be said.
All right. But you think that? Okay, so you think
They were-
it was a real, you know?
for the fact that they weren't actors,
Yeah.
I thought they did a fine job.
Gotcha. Did that ball?
This dude,
Walton
sorry.
Goggins?
Yeah, sure.
What do you mean? Yeah, sure. Okay.
What? He's not like a Brad Pitt or something.
Yeah, I know, but he's.
It's just because you really like Walton Goggins. Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that's not like
majority-
a name.
The majority
I
of
don't
people
know.
could not pick that name. Like you'd be like, "Who is this?" It's Walton Goggins. You just lied to me about that name. That is not a name that exists.
I feel like he's like at least a B-list celebrity.
No,
He
Even
was
if
in
he is, I don't know,
Justified,
like-
which was huge.
people don't know him.
Justified, Vice Principals. He's in the new Tomb Raider movie. He's
People are like that guy. That's what people
Hmm.
refer to him as.
well, that's a shame. He's great. I did look at Walton Goggins. I didn't see that he was in Seven Psychopaths though.
I thought he was. Maybe he wasn't.
Maybe not.
I said Seven Assassins too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
But you got the Seven Psychopaths.
That's the Japanese remake. So does that guy's smirk like ever get annoying? Is that just how he looks?
yeah, that's
Or-
just his face. That's just his life.
Wow, what an asshole.
Yeah, I should probably kick his ass.
Definitely not a hero. No, he is.
Definitely a hero.
Yes,
If there's
absolutely.
if there's one takeaway from this podcast, like no matter what I say about this film, people know that I believe them all to be heroes.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing what they did.
Oh yeah, no, we're not disparaging that. It's just
Yeah.
the idea of the movie is very. I mean, the idea alone is gimmicky. Like I think we can all kind of agree. Like
I
getting
guess
the
it's an
guys
interesting situation. Oh, the idea of getting the guys that
Yes.
actually yes.
Yeah, like I think that at the end of the day, I'm sure that the movie could still be good, but then that might be like a kind of rocky point with
Yeah.
getting these guys who aren't actors. Like that's just always like I don't know why.
Hey, we all got to start somewhere, dude.
Exactly, you're right. They're like, man, I can't. Thank God we saved that train, or else we would have never been able to jumpstart our acting career.
Wow.
Oh my god, conspiracy.
It was all a setup. They're actually BFFs with that Terry. So did they
What's
get?
that red dot on your head, Tyler?
Wait, hold on. I'm getting a call. I don't know who this is. It says, "Do you guys know Il Adi?"
No, I don't.
So Steve, though, they got the actual terrorist to reprise his role.
No, they did not. Jesus. Wow.
I don't think that's that bad.
I mean, I'm sure he is thoroughly in jail.
What's the difference between being in jail normally and being in jail thoroughly?
You'd know if you had to go through it.
Oh shit!
And you don't want to know.
Okay, so Charlie,
Yep.
did you no? What? So how long of the movie? I'm guessing there's like they get into the city and then there's a confrontation with like this head person when she's like, you could save
Save your friend.
instead of save
Save all
everybody.
of us.
Yeah,
All of us, I think it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there
Did they
there's that
save all of
confrontation?
us?
Yeah. What is
You'll
he?
have
What
to
is
see.
what is his response?
So the main guy, of course, is the key to.
Well, hold on. Before you get to that, I want to know: is this lady, has she been in the movie, like at least in the other stories, or she just shows up as like the head of everything?
I'm
in this
pretty
movie?
sure she's been in the other, at least one.
Yeah,
Of the
at
other
least
Okay.
it sounded like it.
Okay, all right.
And
I
then
didn't know.
she's not at like the very beginning of the movie, but throughout, whenever they're showing like what the city is doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and the acronym is WCKD.
Andrew WCKD. All right. So, what does he respond with?
Then like action starts happening. So it's like, would you rather do this
Well,
or
'cause-
this? And it's like, oh,
Oh man.
Well, they spoke louder than his words, though.
yeah. He raised dual middle fingers. And Giancarlo Esposito is in this movie.
Who?
Giancarlo Esposito, the guy who plays Gus Fring in Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. And so is
You mean you don't know Giancarlo Esposito, dude?
I mean, he's pretty much a B-list. He was on a very famous TV show.
Walton Goggins has been in a lot of
Yes.
stuff. So isn't also
They both have fucked up names.
isn't also Littlefinger and
Oh, yeah. He plays like the head of the military part of the city.
Oh, okay. So the city has its own military?
He had like all the people to keep him out, to
Okay.
keep like the cranks out.
Who was on the train?
Just like friends of theirs, allies,
Okay. Where was the train going?
to the city.
Why?
To take in as many of those people as they can
To
to do
experiment?
tests on and stuff.
Okay. All right. Steve, how much of the movie is the train?
Well, approximately
3 hours.
About 5 minutes.
three
It's all
hours.
real time from
3
the beginning
hour-
of the train trip.
3 hours of a 1 hour and 30-minute movie. It was, I believe
Only
it.
in how it felt.
I believe the actual train time was approximately 8 minutes.
Really?
Yes.
And is it like the end of the movie, or is it kind of just?
It's the end, like it's pretty much the last part of the movie, except for at the very end they show. I don't know if it's real footage. If I had more time than just like seeing the movie and coming here, I
We
would
need more time.
I would have looked it up, but I thought they may have shown the real footage of them receiving the French honor. I
Gotcha.
can't remember exactly. Like, I think it's Honor Legion is what the French Honor Legion is what they were
Iron
inducted.
baguette.
Yes, is what they were inducted into for their service.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's the actual footage of that thing, but then after that they show the ceremony and like the full speech that the French president gives.
And Charlie, it's the Iron Beret.
Oh, damn. Sorry.
Okay, so all right. And does Clint Eastwood ever show up and make some commentary during?
He does not.
Oh,
No,
damn.
he lets
Damn.
he lets it speak for itself.
They actually put his
It's-
commentary throughout the whole movie.
No, it's actually not commentary. You just hear him angry breathing for
Oh, jeez.
an hour and a half.
That's building the tension for sure. For a while, I guess. Then it just feel like
Charlie,
Okay.
how long was your movie?
like 2 hours, I think.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I have really any other specific questions. If you guys want to like kind of say stuff that you want to make sure is said before we go into Charlie, if you want to go first, because
Sure.
Steve, we just
So towards the end, shit's really going down in the city.
shit gets real.
Yeah, yeah. People are firing RPGs and stuff.
Fuck.
Yes.
I really hope Martin Lawrence was there to let everybody know that shit just got real.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
And,
Wow.
and the weird thing was they weren't actually shooting RPGs at anything. They were just shooting them off into the air.
Well, hey,
It was a celebration.
dude, it's gravity. They got to come down sometime.
Yep.
They were preparing for next week's attack, so they would have an opening salvo.
That would be going so slow upwards to then turn around and come back down in a matter of a week.
It gets to lower orbit, but it has to
Oh,
fight
gotcha.
back in.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
and by the time it gets
No,
there,
they
it's
have-
burnt out, and it's just.
They have electromagnets in the ground to pull them back to Earth.
Yes. So a lot of the people die. The lady that was on the inside is helping the main guy get to a helicopter because everything's going to shit, and they end up not finding a cure. And even with the main dude's
Hold
stuff,
on. Yeah, wait, hold on. What a cure for what?
the cranks to
so them
turn them back to
transforming
normal
and-
again.
Okay. So it's
And
not
some of the people are
literally-
half not fully infected yet, like Walton Goggins.
Okay, so it's not literally a death cure. It's to stop you from transforming into these
Yeah,
creatures.
yeah, I guess. I mean, if somebody's
but it
already a
progress-
crank, they're dead to them.
Yeah,
So
and it kind of progresses to death because they're just they basically lose their mind, and I think
Yeah.
will eventually lose function. But
Yeah.
I'm not positive.
they start decaying too. It looks like.
Yeah.
So they don't actually get the cure, and they find out that there's another city, far, far away from these guys.
So is there a fourth book / movie?
See, that's what I don't know, because the way it ends, it's well, okay. I mean, that's kind of a dark ending if it's just well, most of your friends died, and you can take all the remaining people that aren't infected and try and create the human race again, but there's no cure. So,
All right. That
All
sucks.
right. Okay.
but I mean, you'd
That
think
is
it'd be
super
they
bleak.
found the cure, and now it ends with
Yeah.
him starting to distribute it. It's no. Your girlfriend dies, and lots of other people do too, and all the other people are going to as well. But the couple thousand people in there will restart the human race.
Okay. Wow. That is this weird crank human hybrid.
Oh no, that dude's not a crank.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm assuming he's gonna have to sleep with a crank, or somebody who's turning into a crank.
Well, all the people in the city are good.
Oh, okay.
He's going to get to is what you mean.
Yeah. He's going to choose in quotations. He's gonna have to. Yeah, I guess I gotta.
The things I do for humanity.
Wow, Triple X. The things I do for my government,
That's
or my
right.
country.
Yeah. By the way, you said something that reminded me about the new Triple X movie. That movie does revolve around the fact that there are 30,000 satellites orbiting the Earth.
Yep.
I just wanted you guys to know that.
Not one more,
Thank
not
you.
one less.
Yeah, no,
if one
30.
new one goes up, they got to deactivate one and send it down.
They just lasso it and just pull it back in.
Steve, final thoughts? Everything that you want to say?
I mean, they
How does it end? Do they save the train?
do save the train. It was okay. So you see, it focuses more on Spencer Stone than the other two. He's kind of like the main thread because
Is that the bald guy?
Yes,
The bad boy of the group.
Yes, actually,
Is that why he's wearing that leather jacket all the time?
yes,
Okay.
and the shades,
And the chained wallet?
and of course
He's got
the
that
chain walls.
huge chip on his shoulder too.
No, he doesn't wear any of those things. But he in the beginning he wants to be like a parajumper. He wants to just save people pretty much. But he doesn't have there's something wrong with his vision that disqualifies him. So he ends up going into
Fully blind.
No, he doesn't have
That's
depth
why that's why he charged that.
he doesn't have he has poor depth perception or something,
Okay.
and I think that just disqualifies him from jumping out of a plane at somebody.
Damn, I would think that would disqualify you from anything in the military, just about.
Were all three of them in the military?
Two of them were
just
in the
two.
military.
Okay, so Anthony. I think
Anthony
you said
was
he
not.
was not. Okay, all right, just making sure.
So he ends up going still into the Air Force in a different thing. He ends up becoming kind of like a. It's kind of like a medic.
Pilot.
Well, no, it's like a medic.
Well, he
role.
becomes like that guy that waves the planes to be able to.
Immediately is given
but because of his depth perception, there's some
just-
accidents.
the humanity. No, so he ends up kind of becoming almost like a medic type role, and when they show the whole fight, it's just kind of a very succinct sort of situation. Like you know how in movies they kind of really draw out everything, like it's just kind of down and dirty when the actual thing happens.
Yeah.
So the guy pulls out the gun, he comes out. And some other people on the train actually try and get the gun because he changes in the bathroom and comes out with the rifle.
Yeah.
And some people try to get it away from him, and one guy actually gets it away from him and kind of runs down the train aisle with it.
Yeah.
And he pulls out
Banana
a pistol.
peel? Oh.
No, he pulls out a pistol and shoots that guy in the back, and then runs up and grabs his rifle again. And that's when Spencer goes to tackle him.
When he slips, that's when the sound effect of the
Slide whistles. So
This is the time that we need sound effects, dude, I'm telling you. Once every 52 episodes.
Hey, that's actually funny that you mentioned that because Madeline offered her electronic keyboard recently to play sound effects.
That'd be great.
That would be hilarious. So, but that's when Spencer attacks him, and he kind of gets him and starts getting him in kind of like a chokehold. And while he's doing that, the guy pulls out a knife and like is trying to stab him, and ends up like cutting the back of his neck a bunch, and then he like really gouges his thumb and cuts it to the bone. But he's still just kind of going in on the thing. And around that time, that's when Alec comes up. He picks up the rifle off the ground, or he picks up the pistol from him because it starts off with him trying to shoot him with the pistol, like to shoot Spencer with the pistol. But the clip falls out. Like I guess since they're struggling, he hits the clip release. And Alec gets the pistol away from him and just starts pistol whipping him in the face while Spencer is choking him out. They end up getting the knife away from him as well. Alec then uses the rifle butt and hits him in the face a couple times until Spencer gets a good chokehold and chokes him out. And once he chokes him out, then they end up like just finding some stuff to tie him up.
Yeah.
And then they go. Then Spencer goes and the gunshot hits the guy that was running with the rifle. It hits him in the throat, and so Spencer has to hold his carotid artery closed to try and to keep the blood in, and he just holds it there until the train stops and like emergency personnel comes in and they take away that guy, and then EMS comes in and helps that guy.
Do we know how long it was between the attack and like them subduing the guy, and then
I don't know.
The train stopping and people showing up.
I don't know the real time amount.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't know how long they had to be there until the next stop either.
Yeah.
But they make it sound as if the guy survives. The guy that was shot survives.
Okay.
That's fucking crazy, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really, I can't even imagine that scenario.
And I think that was probably the best part of the movie is that like they didn't over sensationalize the whole thing. They kind of just let it play out, like because typically in these kind of movies it's like the slow motion, like 5 minutes equals an hour length of time sort of thing. But they just kind of let it run, and it kind of feels like the real event.
I'd probably be like that Dave Chappelle stand-up bit where he talks about the 911 call. I'd be like, I shit it myself.
But it was
defense mechanism, dude. Stay back.
It was also kind of cool because like once his friends get involved, like Anthony is like, even though he's the one that isn't trained, he gets in there too. Like he kind of gets in there and helps subdue the guy. He just starts punching. He just does whatever he can. He doesn't have the training, but he just gets involved because he's not going to let his friends do this.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. So okay. So I guess you guys have said what you want to, I mean, get up, I guess. So Charlie, I actually am kind of interested in the whole story of the like just because I don't know anything about it, and it does sound kind of interesting, and I do the whole like non-linear type, well, not linear, but not cliched ending of just like, well.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's another book.
I don't either.
Oh,
I thought there were only 3, but it might not be.
I thought there was only 1, so I'm way out of my.
You didn't know about Scorch Trials, dude.
How
could you
wish
forget?
I had.
Saw I want in theaters.
Dude, I just want to see it just
not for this podcast.
Well, hold on. I got one last question. So I saw The Godfather Part 2 recently. How do these hold up comparatively?
I think that just doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, The Godfather Part 2.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm not a fan. It insists upon itself.
So I do like those things about Maze Runner, and then Steve
And Walton Goggins.
and Wong Goggins and Steve, but Miles Teller. So
You're right. He definitely is in this movie.
Note to listeners: Miles Teller is not in this film.
but Steve, I do like that they don't that. I like that the whole movie isn't the train thing, and I like that it is not like, a event that happened over 10 minutes but stretched out to an hour 40 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I like that they did it, fucking like, hey, yeah, this thing happened fucking quick. This is how this shit happens. We're not like...
Yeah, it was one of those things where it just kind of felt like it was almost... The whole situation felt kind of visceral because it was just like all just happening, and you're just kind of along for the ride.
Yeah, and it's a crazy story too. Like and especially just these dudes that are on vacation, like being. I don't think the hero aspect has anything to do with that they're American or anything. Like it's just I think that makes it even crazier that like these dudes that were on vacation just minding their own fucking business, and then they were thrown into this situation and they stepped up. Like that's insane. And then but the things that I don't like about these movies, Steve, this may sound bad, but the whole like the childhood stuff does not sound interesting to me. Like I don't really know if I care to know how they were raised and brought up before this event happened. But then again, that kind of contradicts what I like about the fact that the train scene is
unpatriotic fuck.
I mean, maybe if it was just more of their like trip in Europe.
Maybe it just shows that they're just normal
like,
dudes that.
Yeah, I don't know. And then also, I mean, I don't like that they use the guys that it happened to. Like, that's something that, I mean, maybe those guys are okay with it, but it's something that kind of makes me a little uncomfortable about it. It's like these guys are having to relive this traumatic event, and yeah, they agreed to it and did it, but still, like, I feel like seeing that for myself would be a little uncomfortable. It would be like, man, you got, like, you had to do this probably like 10 takes, or one take. It's Clint Eastwood.
Maybe it was more fun to redo it when they know the outcome for sure.
Yeah, probably. But
it definitely calms them about the scenario.
And it's Clint Eastwood, so they probably only did like one take each, and there's probably like a fake baby somewhere that they had to move the hand of.
Oh man, unforgivable.
Dank callback.
Wait, did Clint Eastwood direct that movie?
Yeah, American Sniper.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that baby is so fake. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but it's oh my god, it's
atrocious.
I mean, you see Bradley Cooper moving the hand a little bit.
Oh yeah, we'll pull it up for you afterwards. Other parts of that movie are really well made. I mean, regardless of if it's a good movie or not, like parts of that movie are really well made.
Yeah,
but then
it's
like,
hodgepodge.
how do you fuck that up?
It's a hodgepodge.
So
there's stuff
royally.
that's really good, and then stuff that like there's a slow-mo scene where it looks like it's like 12 frames per second. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then there's the baby scene, and then like the final scene.
Is your budget run out, man?
Yeah, and then the final scene of him like going off just seems so like, hey, like, all right, hug your entire family like it's the last time you're gonna see them before you go to the shooting range with this guy. Like, I don't know, like that stuff was like, okay, did he really like do the rounds? It's like, I love you, right?
Always remember me, kids. See ya.
See you in 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be back in an hour.
Man, we're really going in on this brand new movie.
Yeah, no, hot takes all around. But Charlie, one of the things that I don't like about your movie is just there are parts that do seem very generic, like YA generic. Where it's like there are interesting bits. I think this is kind of like across the board with YA novels and stuff. It's like, oh, there are interesting concepts in here, but then you guys just use the same thing.
It's so cookie cutter at times.
Yeah, it's like
it's just a different skin.
Yeah.
Is what I would say if I didn't like my movie.
Yeah, it's like, oh hey, these are interesting concepts, interesting things, and then there's a mega city, and it's all
Like, okay.
apocalyptic, and it's all
The only way this could have been worse is if you had seen Divergent, Tyler. Like if you were just like having flashbacks to Divergent.
Well, I read the first Divergent book, and I liked it. Like
I had
liked
to see one of them, I think.
Yeah, you saw the second or
Allegiance.
third one.
Allegiance.
Yeah, I think that's the third one. So I mean, I've read all the Hunger Games books. I read the first Divergent book, and when I read the first Divergent book, I liked it a lot. But the second one hadn't come out yet. And by the time the second one came out, I had like
You just kinda cooled on
forgotten.
it.
I'd forgotten about the series until like I know Landlord Kevin's a pretty big fan of the series. He really likes those books, but I don't think he's seen the movies. Fair enough, but yeah, I mean. So there are things that I like, aspects I like and dislike about both these movies. And at the end of the day, honestly, Maze Runner interests me more. Like as far as I don't know. Like it's just like I said, the story of the actual train bit interests me, but the rest doesn't to an extent.
I understand.
And then yeah, I don't know. So Charlie, how off am I?
I mean, I understand your reasoning, but the movie was just exactly what you said. Like, it's just boring as fuck.
Really?
Yep. So boring. Like, about 2 minutes into it, they're already just... Like that shitty gunfire in movies where it's just, like, senseless back and forth across the desert. Just two groups of people just shooting at each other, but nothing happening.
Yeah.
And I just was going, oh... Okay.
Yeah. Do you think it's one of those things where probably the way it's executed in the book is way better? Like just the story and like
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
Probably because one of the problem with movies is like they have to fill like the visual void.
yeah.
Whereas in the book it just kind of skips over it.
yeah.
And I mean, I was intrigued by the part when that dude is running the forest and he's in the chamber, and then that creature comes out, because I read about the other ones, but I hadn't seen it. It's like, what the fuck is this creature? I thought it was all. I didn't even know they were going to be like the cranks. I thought they were just going to be like people, the poor outsiders and stuff. But
There's always more nuance in the books as well. Like
in the first Maze Runner film, like they think that the things are like these creatures, but then at one point they end up killing one. And then they find out that they're robots and not like these weird animal creatures, and so that like opens up a whole like what the fuck is happening?
They look like half flesh.
Yeah, it's almost like they have like swamp stuff over them. But then when they end up killing one by like because at night the maze like starts changing and moving around, and one of the guys like they end up caught in the maze at night, and so he has to like run away from these things at night, but it's still moving, so he ends up like tricking it into a spot where the maze is moving and crushes it, and that's when he finds out it's like a robot and has like sensors and stuff inside, and they're like, okay, now we're even more confused about what the fuck is happening to us.
Do they explain who builds the maze? Because that thing is huge.
It's from what I understood, it was the group.
So what you're telling me though is
like
that
the military.
they were
group.
robots in disguise the whole
Yes.
time. Interesting.
At least that's what I got.
Is there anything you want to say about Maze Runner?
I mean, there really wasn't anything good about
bland.
it.
It was just bland.
Yep.
Like there was nothing. Are you saying there's nothing good, but at the same time there's nothing overtly bad? It was just like middle of the line the whole time.
The biggest crime was it's just boring. Just okay. I mean, if you're a teenager, maybe I can understand the appeal. Maybe if I had seen the other ones, but jumping into the third movie in a series, I'm like, okay,
yeah. I gotcha. So it's actually at a 43% on Rotten Tomatoes, 5.1 out of 10 average score, which kind of goes with your middle of the line, like nothing really bad, nothing really good.
Yeah.
140 reviews, 60 fresh, 80 rotten. Maze Runner: The Death Cure may offer closure to fans of the franchise.
What? No.
But for anyone who hasn't already been hooked, this bloated final installment is best left unseen.
Yeah, okay. So that's probably exactly what happened. And closure in the sense that I guess a lot of people die.
I
have closure for that character now.
A positive review is it's not great, but it's better than it has any right to be.
Damn.
Maze Runner pushes it to the limit and ultimately ends up spent. That's a rotten review. The Maze Runner is a rare series that has improved with each installment, expanding
like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, expanding beyond the organic pen of the first film into a bigger and more thrillingly realized science fiction sandbox, like Grand Theft Auto. That's positive. A masterwork of mediocrity is a rotten one.
Yeah.
This fizzler of a finale makes little sense. And a final positive one, the concluding chapter to this winning, deeply satisfying teen dystopia franchise offers a well-plotted, action-packed adventure several notches above what we saw in any of the similarly themed Hunger Games or Divergent films.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so nothing.
All right.
It was one of the, not the worst viewing experience. There have definitely been worse ones, but it was definitely one of the most boring ones, hardest to pay attention.
I gotcha. Yeah. Steve?
Okay, so I lied earlier. Their acting was awful.
What?
It just like
No.
it's like I hate to say it, but like because I don't want to like disparage these guys, but
It's clear that we all think that what these guys did is incredible.
It's a very. I understand what you're saying, Steve. It's a very like that's what I was saying about how
like every scene felt like it was spent with them just sitting there trying to remember what they were supposed to be saying. like they all just had that like far off look of like trying to read something in blank air.
Man, they should have taken lessons from Marlon Brando. Damn it.
I don't.
Yeah, all his tapes that he left of how to leave your lines throughout the the set of the movie so that you can read them and not have to memorize them. Man, I'm so glad he wasn't in The Godfather Part 2.
all of like the things that happened to them as kids, like first of all the kid stuff was just like nonsense, and then like it just made no sense. So it starts off with that teacher being like they both need to be on medication, and the mom's being like, no, we're gonna send them to a different school. And so they send them to a different school, and they keep getting in trouble for like just not being in class,
for not paying attention.
No, they got in trouble for not paying attention. Like,
Jesus.
but
if only there was some kind of medication that would help them pay attention.
But like they meet Anthony there, and he's like getting in trouble too. But they all they keep going to the office. But the most of the time they're going to the office because they're just like in the hall for a little too long after the bell, and then he's just like, no hall pass, go to the office.
It's all sweep.
And like the mom.
Oh yeah, that'll be a nice reference for anybody who went to the same high school we all went to.
Yeah, I know. Why do you think I made it?
I don't even think Steve will get that reference because that shit started when I was like a senior.
So, but like they keep
it is very fitting though.
They keep getting sent to the office for like not being in class, and like the moms get called in to talk, like just the two moms, because we never see Anthony's parents. But the moms get called in, and they're like, have they hurt anybody? Like, no, but I could see it happening. I was like, they've just been late to class. like the principal, who is Tom Lennon, is like.
I thought you were gonna say Tom Brady.
It's like overblowing this whole situation, but there's like.
You said Tom Lennon?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's actually.
You should have mentioned that.
Was he in short shorts?
No. But there's like a scene where they all like enjoy talking about like war history and stuff like that, and they play airsoft and things. But there's this one scene where they're all playing airsoft and having fun, and this guy's like, I think I want to go to prom, and they go to like an all boys school, and they're like, dude, that's public school shit. He's like, yeah, I know. I think I'm gonna go to public school, and I was like, you have any control over this? But he just like leaves, and it's just like, I'll keep in touch, and then like you don't see him for a while.
So you said Tom Lennon is it? Tom Lennon is in it.
Yes.
Is there a scene where he moonlights as a doctor telling Bruce Wayne that his spine and his leg are fucked up?
No.
Oh.
No, still not.
Interesting.
But after he tells them, after he tells the moms that like the kids are trouble and that they need to get, he says to Alex's mother, who is
which I hope is her name.
No, her name's Heidi in the film, but it's Jenna Fisher. Yeah. And he's like, we think it would be best if he lived with his dad. And I was like, do you have any fucking control over that? And then the next scene is he's just like getting in a car with his dad and moving to Oregon. I was like, whoa.
They know his dad? Like
I have no idea what's going on, but I was like that mother
she must have been a train wreck.
The teacher that says that they should be on ADD medication was like, it's bad for boys to be raised by single mothers. It's a fact or something. I was like, what is happening? Like all of these things are so
based
ridiculous.
on the data.
I feel kind of bad because like as much as it shows that Spencer's a hero, it also shows him like he washes out of the original program that he's in, Like he just
Yeah.
keeps fucking up and then gets sent to like they call it like adult daycare, where he goes to like another program where they're taught like there's an active shooter on the grounds and it's like everyone get under your desks. Like they're told not to do anything and that's what they're trained for.
And they're like trying to do.
Yeah.
Like,
No, he ends up taking a ballpoint pen and goes up to the door and just stands there with the pen.
Oh my God.
Like waiting for the guy to come in, and I was like, what's going on?
and I mean, fuck, like shit timing for that movie. Like that is very like. I mean, they didn't do it on purpose, but that is in pretty poor taste.
I mean, and
like,
I don't know if it happened, like, but
Ugh.
it ends up that there was an active shooter on like a different army base, but the call went out to their base as well on accident. So like it was.
My God,
it was,
he can teleport.
all you need is a ballpoint pen, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
but it just. I don't know how
he's
true
gonna write
most
him
of
up.
these things are, but like there's like they show the scene of him, he like just oversleeps and misses like a thing, and that's how he ends up getting washed out of his original program. But he's sleeping like on the floor in his room, just like on the ground, just laying basically starfished out on the ground.
dude, army, dude. You don't get beds in the army.
Like I just didn't understand. There's like several scenes of just heavy-handed like. Do you think we're like meant for something more? There's like one where they're like
on lookouts,
yeah.
Like
Well,
over
like-
LA or
No,
something.
there's a scene where they're like it's after they go out. I believe they're in Amsterdam at the time, but they go out and they get really drunk, and it's the next day, and they're because everyone apparently on their trip has been telling them to not go to Paris because it sucks. They're like, don't go to Paris, it's lame.
who
Hey
says
Han, don't go to Tokyo.
that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like seriously, I don't know anybody. If I told them I'm going to Paris, they'd be like, "Oh, what? That's fucking lame,
no,
dude.
and,
Don't
like,
go to
If the
fucking
French government killed their parents.
yeah. Like that is ridiculous."
And like just everyone just keeps saying like, don't bother with Paris, like it's a waste of your time. And they're like, well, we're here, we kind of want to see it real quick.
Oh wait, you're saying people in Amsterdam are saying that?
Well, no, they meet an American in Italy, and she's like, don't go to Paris.
Okay.
And then, but he's like, we already have the tickets, and like an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. Like I just think,
Oh,
I
shit,
just think
dude.
we're
Did
being
he-
pushed there.
Did he write
And I
that
was like,
down? Did he write that down?
No.
Because holy fuck, that's like some insane.
yeah,
Oh man, dude.
blowing
Somebody
my
should tell scientists about this.
Yeah, that's.
like, and I don't know how how much of this was ballooned out to make it a more
Yeah.
None of it.
because there's also like there's like when he's leaving the train after he's been attacked and he's been patched up, like there's a voiceover of him like saying a prayer that he prayed as a kid after his mom like really gets on him about doing stuff, and like it's fine, but it's a little heavy-handed with like all of this like my life was meant for something, like them just automatically saying
Yeah.
my life was made for something more over and over again.
Yeah.
And it felt very canned.
Yeah, it's something that I'm sure that a lot of directors have their own, they bring their worldview into movies, regardless of what you do. So I'm sure that movies that I've seen have been politically, charged in some way, but I feel like Clint Eastwood has a way lately of doing it where it's way too obvious.
Yeah, I mean,
like
if
he
it had
puts
just-
stuff in his movie where it's like, okay, yeah, dude, we fucking get it.
I think I would have rather just watched a documentary about this.
Yeah,
No,
I agree. Yeah.
With the reenactment, sure. If you want
I
to
could
do,
put, like,
if you want to do that part, even with the guys. Then
yeah, the
It-
guys
it-
talking about what they're doing with them doing a reenactment.
felt like
Yeah,
a situation where they're like, okay, so this was 10 minutes. How do we fill 80 more?
yeah.
And that's what hurt it, because they were
Mm-hmm.
just like reaching for all of these sections that like to make it them seem more inept. There's also a scene where when Alec is in Afghanistan, he like leaves his pack at a town that they go through, and they have to like go back and get his pack because he left it, like he leaves a knife in it and like a couple mags of ammunition. And then like that scene is just basically people being like, "You fucking moron! You left.
I mean,
you
yeah.
left your army pack.
pretty big goof.
Yeah, so it was just like why are these scenes that you've chosen to show about these people that make them seem like inept idiots
Yeah.
that like maybe accidentally saved a train? Like,
I know I
these
should
are
have
guys-
volunteered
yeah.
to carry everybody's grenades. Shit.
Like it just seems so ridiculous that these were the scenes in their like careers
I mean-
in the military that they chose to show.
I get the idea of like not making them out to be, the fucking saviors, like always just on their game and stuff like that. But it sounds like they might have gone a little bit too, far with them being bumbling like. I
was
hope I
just
don't drop this bag of grenades.
Yeah.
He takes his glasses off when he goes to tackle the terrorist.
Hey, why are these pins and all these grenades? Let me take these out. It'll be better.
It just seemed ridiculous, and
Prepping him.
and it would have worked better with. They didn't need to necessarily go back. Oh, I completely forgot this. The movie starts off with showing the
3D.
guy. The movie starts off with showing the guy getting on the train. Then it flashes back to the three of them like driving in a car in Sacramento, and Anthony does he's like, this is Alec, whatever. He was this. This is Spencer. The only reason he won't have your back in trouble is because he's already in trouble. And he's like, and I bet you're wondering how I got here with these two honkies. And I was like,
Record scratch.
I know. They did like the record scratch thing, and I was like, what?
Yep, that's me.
So they.
Yup, I'm me.
Yeah, they do exactly that, and so they flash back from the train into this car scene, and they flash back from this car scene into them as children. I was like, why did they flash back out of a flashback?
The double flashback. Wow, that's some balls. So the average rating. I mean, no, this is at 25% on Rotten Tomatoes. Average rating being 4.2 out of 10. 122 reviews, 30 fresh.
Which, that's not that far off from mine then. 4.2 versus 5.1 for the average
but
rating.
Then like 30
No, I know. It's just interesting.
or 20-something difference because yours was 40-something, I think.
Yeah.
At 92 Rotten. The consensus being 15-17 to Paris pays clumsy, well-intentioned tribute to an act of heroism, but by casting the real-life individuals involved, director Clint Eastwood totally derails his own efforts.
Derails.
Ouch.
Real
that was a real good review until they had to fucking make the train.
Now, what if the movie was about the terrorist and it's like all building up to this 8 minutes and then it's like he just fucks up?
That'd be hilarious.
It would be kind of funny.
And I have to say, I did kind of.
That's me. You're probably wondering
How I got in this moment.
I did have to say I groaned a little bit when like the clip came out of the pistol, and I was like, "What? What?"
That can happen very easily.
I know, but like it felt weird.
They're all handsome, but just appalling actors. This disjuncture.
I mean,
You can say that about a lot of actors.
I mean, there was like a really cool moment where he's like, I think like Spencer was finally like, I think I want to do like go into the army, and Anthony's like, dude, you never follow through with like anything. Like we believe that you could do it, we just don't think you are going to do it. And then like he like really puts in the work to try and like change his life around to actually pull this off.
Yeah.
So that wasn't that full review. Handsome, just appalling actors.
Jesus, I'm sorry.
This disjuncture is impossible to forget while watching the film, and it's very uncomfortable. Despite the good intentions, the movie never lives up to the breathless excitement the real-life story promises. The 15-17 to Paris shows that the 87-year-old director is still capable of surprises. The young men do quite well, and Eastwood delivers a polished product with a tightly staged climax.
And I will say that like that another disservice that they did by having these real guys in there is like they could have used real footage, but like you didn't know if it was real footage or not, because like usually when they show like the real footage, you're like, oh, clearly these are those guys that are different people, but now I'm watching the real footage, and so you can kind of get into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But this one, you're just like, are they just restaging it, or is this the real footage this time?
We've got 15-17, a well-intentioned misfire. And then I'll just do one more positive here. The lack of the usual Hollywood showboating in favor of reality is admirable, if dull in some spots. But the idea is audacious and makes it all worth checking out. A curio from a world-class director who, at 87, still knows how to change things up.
It sounds to me like eventually I will watch the final train sequence on YouTube.
And what also made me think that it was real footage for the honoring was like they were all standing there and they had like
kids
earpieces.
dabbing in the background.
no, they had earpieces in, and the French president was like speaking in French.
Oh, okay.
And like they showed like the full speech, and then like them getting pinned with the medals, and like it was like a really good scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, that all being said, I guess we can just kind of wrap this up here.
Yeah.
That's the end of this episode. Go ahead and listen to all our other episodes if you want. Rate and review us on iTunes if that's how you listen to this podcast. That'd be much appreciated. I think you actually have to search the podcast and then bring up our page on the podcast app. You can't just do it from where your subscribed list. And also go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just do the search and then filter. There's a filter button. Do it by channel, and Movie Versus should be the top one that comes up. And then, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Movie Versus Podcast, Gmail as well. Thanks to Jeremy Lamb for the theme song and Scott Blackwell for the images, or the image, our logo, and then Andy Wisman for the photos that we've been using lately. Other than that, do you guys have anything else you want to mention?
If you're a fan of the Maze Runner series, I apologize for my butchering of it, but whatever.
Steve,
if you're a fan of acts of heroism, I apologize for having to critique the rest of the things around that harshly.
Go ahead and check out Good, Better, Bad, Beyond the Blast Doors, Critical Misadventure, and This Film Is Lit. I know the last one I mentioned, they just recently did a Gone Girl episode, which I know is a book and movie that Charlie and I both really. It's an interesting thing because the movie's really good, but the book is really good.
I really like the book as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of I haven't finished it yet, but
adaptation.
There's a lot of interesting conversation about what they did with the movie and how they
That's
all
cool.
that stuff. So.
And Bat Dong.
Yeah, and Ben Affleck's penis
In IMAX.
Bye.